All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Children's Art Classes Virtual Discovery Day. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Stephanie Larson, our president of Children's Art Classes.
Hi, everyone. So glad you guys could all join us today.
Hi.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. I'm excited for our Discovery Day. Like Sean said, we really would love for you guys to interact through this call. Otherwise, it'll get very dry. So please, as you have questions, don't feel like you can't talk back. We're going to go through our agenda for today's call. We're going to walk through the video. I think some of you are familiar with the studio layout, but I do like to show you and kind of call out a few things as I'm walking through our studio in Jacksonville. We're going to talk about the story of children's art classes, the vision for the company and the history, where we came from, the opportunity for you guys as business owners. I'm going to touch on the curriculum, show you how it's kind of developed through the years and how it grows with our students. We're going to get into the model, which includes the launch plan, the training that we provide, marketing, advertising, and then, of course, the ongoing support that you'll get. And then we'll open it up for additional questions and answers at the end. I think somebody else came in.
I've got it. I'll watch the waiting room here for you, Stephanie.
Okay, great. And Sean, as it already introduced me, and I've met you all, so again, welcome. My mother, Barbara Gay, who is the founder of Children's Art Classes, is pictured down there with me below. That was many years ago. I had less wrinkles, and so did she. My mom, Barbara, travels with me to all of our teacher trainings, so you will get to meet her in person. Dennis Mulganon's with us. He is the director of franchise development. Of course, Sean Hansen is also on the franchise development team. Very excited to have the opportunity to work with Dennis and Sean. They, of course, are the reason we're launched as a franchise. So grateful to have them on the team. Dennis, I would love for you to speak on your background and all your experience with franchising, if you would be so kind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel very, very lucky that I got involved with Children's Art Classes. I've been lucky enough to help develop 10 national franchise brands, going back to home care assistance in the senior care space, junking in the junk removal space, second largest junk removal company in America now, Nerds to Go, mobile IT services, and then my current 7 brands here. Children's Art Classes for me is so unique in that it kind of, there's not a box it doesn't check for people. A lot of times, you know, when people look at an opportunity, they're looking at the real estate play, the construction side, the labor side. Does the market need the service or the product? How hard is it to build? Everything is just so well defined and laid out in such a methodical way that it's pretty hard for somebody to really not execute this very well, which allows scalability for us, right, as a franchise system. It's just checked so many boxes. And as you go through and you compare it to other businesses, for me, at least personally, and I love all 10 of my brands the same, but this brand has like a special place in my heart just because of what we do too as a communal business, and helping and enhance and improve children's lives. So I'm really excited that you're all here today. So
thank you, Dennis. Sean, would you like to go around the room, so to speak? We would love for you guys to introduce yourselves, and Sean will lead that for me.
Yeah, happy to. And really, this is a first chance, really get engaged and open up. And also think about this as people are introducing themselves. We've seen this happen through last few years as all of a sudden they become owners in parallel. And then it's like, we're not just doing it at the same time, but frankly together, and they're peers and they collaborate and communicate with one another. So if you wouldn't mind, share, and I'll go again around that age is enough board. Where are you based? What excites you about Children's Art Classes? And something interesting or fun or unique about you. So Jessica, if you don't mind, I'd love to put you on the spot to start off with.
Okay. I am just north of Jackson, Mississippi in Madison. What excites me about CAC is I love what it offers to the community. I love when I was talking to Sean Caldwell in the beginning, I told him I wanted something that I was going to be passionate about that offered something, and he brought us this, and I was just really blown away by everything that I've seen so far. So yes, I'm very excited about the children's aspect, as well as the limited amount of time, the startup time and all of that kind of stuff. So, or the time that it takes to run everything like that. That's because I'm a stay-at-home mom, and so that's another priority that I have, and I'm looking to homeschool my kids again, and so it'll give me the opportunity to do that as well. So that kind of ties into my interesting fact is I am a stay-at-home mom and I'm a homeschool mom. So
Love it.
Nice. Stephanie, you just sent yours off for school, so you and Jessica probably really resonate on that stuff.
Homeschooled my boy till this year. Now he's in 7th grade, and it's an adjustment for all of us. So
oh, I'm sure. Wow.
kudos
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thanks. How about Carrie?
Hi there. I'm actually in Gilbert, Arizona, which is southeast of Phoenix. What excites me? Number one, the fact that I almost swore I wouldn't do something like this when I started working with the coach, and that just with meeting with everybody and realizing the contribution that you're making. I have a kid in the school system. He just started 7th grade. He's not going to think I'm cool very long, but this lets me stay kind of connected with the children in the community. And it allows me to still be a business analyst as quote my day job, but would also obviously let me do this to contribute to my family's lifestyle and to that of the community, like others are saying. Interesting fact about me. I used to be the webmaster for the Arizona Weimaraner Rescue. I don't know if you guys know what Weimaraners are, dogs with floppy gray ears. I used to actually interview all of the dogs and write all their bios. And I did one like overnight sleepover at the rescue, and it was me and like a king size bed modified to add, I think there were 7 dogs in the bed with me the night that I did that. So I'm pretty passionate. I like Weimaraners are my thing. So I've got a Weim Labrador mix. He's 100 pounds right now. So that's my interesting fact.
Very cool.
That's fun. Interviewing dogs is really, I've never heard that, I have to admit. How about Jet? You're up.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for your time. I really appreciate it. I am based in the greater Tampa Bay area, St. Pete specifically. Been here now for about 6 years. I love the lifestyle, love being very close to the beach and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, Florida based. What excites me about CAC is there's a couple of things. I think one, when I first started looking at this, I immediately fell in love with the margins. I've never seen a business with these kind of margins, so that really got me super excited. But then started digging into it a little bit more. I think there's a couple of things on the softer side. It's the mission based. It's really doing great for the community. I've always wanted to get into the sort of children's education space with a business. My wife is a teacher by trade, so I think this would be a perfect kind of matching her skills too and her connections to the district in Florida. I love the fact that your labor base, your teachers are motivated, highly skilled, motivated teachers, being retired. They want to still work, so they're motivated to be there. Talking to Stephanie, she knows this. I was seeing my wife in the district. There's a lot of unmotivated teachers there out in the world, and that affects the children. So to me, that's a huge tick. You've got a motivated, skilled labor force. I also fell in love with the retention rates of the children staying on throughout the program. I think that's fantastic. And then I think what's really, really exciting too is that the unique curriculum that you guys have developed over the years, that this isn't a drop off aftercare kind of type business. This is a true curriculum academy style business, and I think that really separates separates you guys. And I have not found any real competition yet out there. So yeah, that's a couple of the reasons why I'm falling in love with it.
All right, what fun fact?
Yeah,
Won't let you off the hook.
Interesting fact. I traveled a lot before I met my wife, and to get here to the States, I spent some time in the States. To get here, I traveled. I did an Atlantic crossing on a 44-foot catamaran with myself, the captain, and another crew member. It took us about 40 days to get from Cape Town, South Africa, where I'm from, where my home is, to the British Virgin Islands. Never do it again. It was extremely scary to be stuck out there and just a dot on the ocean. No one's gonna save you. No one is gonna save you. Yeah, I'm crazy, but I also get seasick on smaller boats. So I was seasick for all 40 days at sea.
Oh. Oh.
But yeah, it was an incredible experience for sure.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Garrett, welcome back, buddy. I think you were on one of these back in February. It's nice to see your smiley face again. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm up in Northern Virginia. I'm right where Alexandria Falls Church and Arlington meet. What really excites me about the children art classes is really when I started taking a look into it, I was doing it from a standpoint of trying to give my niece something to do down in Richmond. But then Stephanie told me they already had one in Richmond. I still wanted to do something to engage with the kids and the community, things like that. And I was looking at it as this would be nice to open up, even if it's not as lucrative as the other businesses. But then when I talked to Stephanie and Sean, they were like, you're a little wrong there. And they showed me what I could make by doing it. So, you know, like Dennis said, it was kind of the perfect marriage of me being able to be with the kids in the community and, you know, still make a good buck. And really, what's interesting fact about me is I'm a home brewer. So maybe 10, 15 years from now, after I got this going good and well, you know, I can open my own small little brewery in the area.
Very cool.
What's the best beer that you make? You can tell I'm a little biased on that side.
Yeah, I make a oatmeal stout.
Yummy. That's like almost dessert. Is it nice and thick?
Yeah, it's pretty dark. Yeah, it's thick as brown, so it's better for like dessert time after your dinner.
All right.
Put it
Well,
on
it's
my
only
vanilla
9:14
ice.
a.m. I better not start talking about beer already. Goodness. Wonderful. It's glad to have you here. And Blake, last but not least, I'd love to have you introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I have to say to Garrett, I love beer, and so doing something like that would really excite me and be very unique. So all the power to you for sure.
Thank you.
So with me, I'm based out of Atlanta, about 40 minutes northeast of Atlanta. What excites me about CAC, so two different things. One is I am a career coach and a career ownership coach with the Entrepreneur Source. So I'm always working with clients who are looking for some kind of opportunities. What I really like about this business, which is kind of unique in a way, is that it is semi-absentee by design. And I'm always putting forth semi-absentee businesses to clients who really want a full-time job but work something on the side. And quite often, that is not achievable without completely, losing a work-life balance because you have to build a business up. So I love the fact that it's really, truly a semi-absentee business. The other part of this, which I'm excited about, is I'm also looking for a semi-absentee business. So that's part of the reason why I'm here, is to learn a little bit more about the business, not just so I can help my clients, but I can also learn a little bit more from a selfish standpoint. My wife and I are looking for another business to get into. Something interesting about me, the only thing that comes to mind, I've got a 22-year-old and a 4-year-old. So there's a big gap between the two. A lot of my free time is focused on my 4-year-old with Barbie dolls and princesses and Disney and that type of stuff. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
Love that.
Wonderful. Well, again, welcome everyone. We're delighted to have you here at our virtual discovery day. And again, we do the intros to get to know you and to get you off mute so you stay engaged and ask questions as we go through. So Stephanie, I'll hand it back to you.
Great. Thank you guys. Appreciate you all participating. We're going to go through the studio tour here, which is embarrassing for me. It's so hot in Florida, I'm all sweaty in this picture. But I think it's important to point out that we're in an everyday shopping center. We're not looking for anything that's fancy. We are with other kid businesses, highly visible. Small waiting room that you see here, it's about 5 feet wide by 20 feet. Most of our parents do drop their kids off, but the younger kids, the shorter classes, sometimes the parents. I need to mute this real quick.
There you go. Now, can I hear you? So when we have these moments, we remind folks, get your kids off the screen and go to traditional art. We're not teaching technology in our studios.
Yeah, no, not at all. Sean, am I being heard in the video though, or not?
It's just like a little noise in the background. We can't hear it. You can go ahead and narrate it.
We help you guys set up the studio. We know what you need in the studio. There's the whiteboard, the still life area. All of our supplies are visible for the teachers. So we use clear bins on purpose, heavy duty storage racks. All of this is planned out for you when we get your floor plan, because we don't want your teacher to not have access to what's needed in there. The mural in the background has a long story behind it, but every studio has art, the first language, on the wall, because we do believe that children can communicate through art before they even start talking. We have an area in the studio that is for reference books. We have quite a few since we've been in business for a long time, so your library will grow. Still life is mobile, so the kids do a still life project that lasts for about 6 weeks. So we have our still life area that has wheels that can be wheeled off when we're not doing that project. Drawing boards are kept down below for the kids. The second studio is designed as a clay room. Unless your studio is large enough, then you can have 2 teachers teaching at the same time. So it's like your second classroom. It'll be a duplication of the first room. You'll have the whiteboard, the color wheel, the still life area. Everything is really the same. It just depends on how much square footage we have. So if we have enough room, 1,500 square feet can support the double studio that you see in this video, which is very nice for you as far as a revenue standpoint. You can max out your space and not have to open another one right away. I'm standing near our workbench. Nothing fancy here, but it serves a million purposes. Your teacher's going to be chopping paper to size. There's a trash can at the end. Everything is thought of as far as the details that are needed in the everyday classroom environment. The back room is also important. I'm going to take you into the workroom. This is where we have the kiln. We do a lot of pottery in the curriculum, so we need a kiln on site. This requires a 220 plug, like a dryer, and sometimes they have to be vented out the back. It just depends on the space. The kids end up doing messy projects sometimes in the workroom, so we have a couple tables set up for some of our advanced kids. We have a mop sink for cleanup. All of the art supplies are cleaned up at the mop sink and not in the bathroom. And I think the bathroom is really the only thing you didn't see. So one restroom is typically enough for how many students that we see at one time. Sorry that was so chopped up. Does anybody have questions about the actual space itself while we're here on it?
I do. So the paint colors are standard. That'll be part of the team coming in to.
Yes, Jessica. So when we do your drawing for your floor plan, I will designate what walls are green, what walls are blue. So none of that has to be thought out by you. Sometimes it's flipped in reverse depending on where your entrance is, but yeah, it's all planned out.
Okay.
It's a great question. Any other questions on the actual physical studio space? Okay.
Stephanie, it's Jet here. I was gonna ask you, it was one of my questions, what is the like sweet spot for 2 studios? So 1,500, is that really tight, or is 1,500 like a fair, comfortable space for 2 studios?
1,500 is 1,500 is functional. If you have more than 1,500 square feet, if the price is right, we'll go for it. Because I feel like you can never have enough space, but yeah, 1,500 is a functioning 2 instructor studio. If you're less than 15, it's gonna feel really tight to try to pull that off.
Awesome. And it's just, it's 12 kids per class, right? That's the max
Correct.
capacity.
Yes, yep, 12 kids per class. The younger students, the class size shrinks a little bit. Like the 5 and 6-year-olds, we only do 10, but they're also meeting for only an hour versus an hour and 15 minutes with the 12 students.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions? I love the engagement.
Yeah, Stephanie, this is Blake. Just a question, and you may get to some of this, but typically, what are the best locations? Like whereabouts are they typically placed to drive the most? Is it people that are walking by and see it? I mean, what's the strategy there?
So initially, Blake, our strategy was to be with other kid businesses, and I still really shoot for this goal because we kind of discovered this along the way. All of our family businesses here in Jacksonville are by Mathnasiums, which is an after-school math tutoring center. And Mathnasium, as you may know, has like 1,000 locations, and they have a really large market research budget, which we don't have as a young franchise. But those are the families that we serve. So we are literally following them around. Where are these Mathnasiums? Now, if you don't have Mathnasiums, we're going to look for Kumon. We're going to look for dancing or School of Rock, businesses that are already catering to families that we will also be serving. Visibility is going to be the second, but most, it's equally important, I would say, is being visible. Because for our owners, just being visible is going to save you so much money over the long haul in marketing just by being seen. And because of our brilliant name, any person passing your business is going to know what you offer. We used to tease my mom, wow, it's such a creative name, but it's brilliant because all you have to do is type in art classes for kids, boom, there's children's art classes. So we want your business to be seen, so close to the road. The walk by traffic is great if you have a busy shopping center. However, I've seen, like I was just in Utah last weekend, we're opening our studio there next month, and they're more in a standalone type of situation with a couple of restaurants on either side, but no one in town will miss that spot. I mean, it's directly across from Walmart. It's crazy visibility, and they are going to kill it. So I would like to look at all aspects when we're looking for spaces, and we do have a fantastic team that we work with to help you with your retail search. It's not the most fun part of your journey.
Yeah, and that was going to be my follow-up question, if you would allow me. Typically, once somebody signs on, what's the typical period of time to find that location, and then what's the involvement of the business itself to help with that?
So I wish I could tell you there's a normal timeline. I've seen everything. I mean, it really just depends on the market and the availability. We hit it hard, right? That's like priority number 1 when you're onboarded is let's go with your real estate search, because we know that this process can go fast, but it also can take time. And we want to make sure we're putting you in the right spot where you can be successful for 5 to 10 years. So we don't want to rush it. We don't want to just put you anywhere, because it does matter. But I don't have the crystal ball to tell you how long that takes. I've seen it happen within a month. I've seen it stretch longer than 4 months. So it really just depends, again, what's available. As far as what we provide you for help, we have a standard LOI that we use to make that streamlined. So if we do see sites that we want to, put a letter of intent on, it doesn't make you responsible for any kind of contractual agreement, but it shows the landlord that you have interest. So we have all of these documents ready to go with what we typically go in and ask for when we go to put an LOI in. There's a business plan that you can put together. Sometimes landlords ask for business plans. So we have that available to our owners to make their own and present as needed. And any kind of counsel, any kind of strategy behind how we want to approach this landlord, you've got full support. And the landlord ultimately pays this broker's commission. So it doesn't cost our owners anything. It's just an added layer of help when you're going through the site selection.
Yeah, and is there an
Stephanie, let me
average?
add to that too.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, Blake, we have a national real estate group that manages nationwide. It's led by Gary Letvin. He's based out of Portland, Oregon. So you're going to have a team. Sean is going to be responsible for really identifying individual locations, demographics, psychographics, everything to make a really strong decision. Do we have the density of school-age children? Do we have the schools? Do we have the right elementary school? All the stuff that, you know, that goes into it. But at the end of the day, one of the things that we've kind of realized over the last 2 years is that the more proactive you can be too, you know your neighborhood, you know your market, driving around. A lot of times there's real estate available by owner. So they're not putting it on LoopNet. They don't have a listing broker. So you can help yourself by driving around. Our broker will still negotiate that on your behalf with you, for you. But the more proactive you can be in your own market, the better. We're going to take a bull rush with commercial broker and really seek what's available. But the more you can participate, the better opportunity to get a lease faster.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. I thought I heard someone else pipe in too. Anybody else have another question out there? I don't want to skip anybody. No? Okay. Let's talk about the vision. The vision of CAC is to become the premier provider of children's art education across the country, from pre-K all the way through 12th grade. This has been a goal of mine for many years, is to share this with as many kids as possible, because I know the benefits that kids get from this curriculum and just being a part of the children's art classes experience in the classroom. So why is art education important? Well, it's fundamental to the development of our kids. And it's sadly taken out of the school in so many situations. And it's such an important part of the development of critical thinking. And it's been proven to enhance academic performance and contribute to the self-esteem in these young kids and their overall long-term success. So our why as a whole of a company is to raise the self-esteem of these kids and show them, teach them how to do something, believe that they can do it, and really acknowledge them when they achieve something that they've worked so hard on. So it's interesting to see so many STEM situations now are turning into STEAM and realizing, oh yeah, that art thing's pretty important. So I'm starting to see STEAM, pop up. It's like, come on, people, get a clue. It's nice to see that happening though.
Stephanie, can I just ask a question?
Sure.
So as schools don't always have art courses and classes, do you encourage owners to try to partner with schools, educate schools, and almost be an extension of a school, at least from a curriculum standpoint? Like, if you know what I mean.
So Stephanie, does Blake have my whole deck? We'll get there, brother. I promise. We will go deep on that.
All right, thank you.
Yes, we can dive deep into that, Blake, and the answer is yes. So I'll go into more detail. We will.
Yes, and yes. We partner very tightly. So yeah, absolutely. And we'll go into the weeds on that.
Yep. So having these goals of educating and enriching these kids in our community, we can't do that within our family. We don't have the bandwidth. So who we are partnering with, who we bring on to our team as owners really matters. I don't think this business is for everyone, and that's okay. But I think that the owner that decides to have a children's art classes has that passion to help and sees the value in what you're actually bringing to the community. So, I mean, I just adore our owners, and I think they're all doing such great jobs, and the teachers are such a huge part of this business too. So I'm very hands-on when it comes to the teachers and their ongoing training and support. So anytime that I can make something better for our owners, for our teachers, I'm doing that. This has been a constant improvement upon what we started with as a family business and where we are now, you know, delivering this to more and more people. I just want to make sure that our teachers feel that support and have all the resources that they need to deliver the curriculum in the best way possible. So every time there's an improvement, it's shared amongst our whole team. And I do believe that that's an important part of being in a franchise, is benefiting from what we know works.
Hey, Stephanie,
So,
real quick before you
yeah.
move to this one, have you had any difficulty in some of the studios that you open with finding a teacher?
So luckily for us, we're able to pay our teachers well. And this has been a very appetizing position for these teachers because you know, this is a part-time gig, so they're not going to be working more than 20 hours a week, which is really why we're targeting retired art teachers. They're like the perfect fit. I'm not suggesting that we hire teachers that are working from 8 to 3 in the schools and then showing up at your business and working till 8 o'clock at night. That's just a recipe for burnout and a really grouchy teacher. So we don't want any grouchy teachers. But we have not had a problem with quality candidates for this job because it's, like I said, it's very appealing. We've got a beautiful studio to work in, no restrictions on budget for supplies. They have every supply they need to deliver this beautiful curriculum, and they don't have to write the curriculum. So for teachers who have been teaching for so long, that's been the biggest appeal is, wow, all I have to do is follow the lesson plans. I don't have to come up with this stuff myself. And are you kidding me? I only have to teach 12 kids at a time, not 30. And I get them for an hour and 15 minutes and they all want to be there. You know, that's the biggest thing for art teachers out there. They've got maybe 25 or 30 kids. Maybe most of them don't want to even be there. And then they only get like 30 minutes to try to teach them anything. So it's been a very nice thing to be able to say, hey, you know, this is what we have. Come work for children's art classes, get to know the families, and you'll get to be able to teach these kids year after year after year. We have a really great team of people that have been helping us recruit these teachers. And the whole process takes anywhere from 60 to 120 days for them to really get out there, find the quality candidates and narrow things down. And it's been wonderful. I participate in these final interviews with you. I have my own set of questions. I obviously do not tell you who to hire, but I can tell you why I wouldn't hire someone, which I share that advice with you. So that's been very helpful. And, you know, we are set on what we require of these teachers. We minimum of 5 years in the classroom teaching, hands-on experience. I don't care if they're an artist. It's not what we're looking for. It's great if they are artistic, obviously, but we need the art teacher. We need somebody who cares about the kid learning this stuff. So far, knock on wood, we've been really lucky and successful with this process.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So the history always blows my mind. This truly started in my childhood home in our garage. And to see all these locations opening, and every time my mom and I go, she still can't believe like this is real. And that, you know, you walk into a studio that looks just like our family business and it's in Manhattan or in Utah or in California. It's wild. So we're really excited. So we started in 97 with, I don't know, the math, 26 years ago. My mom sold her business in New Mexico and came out to Florida because she was coming to see my sister and I so many times a year. It didn't make sense for her to be in New Mexico anymore. So my mom and I opened our studio together in 2009, right after the real estate market took a huge turn. 3 years later, we opened a second studio for my sister. She still runs that studio. And then we moved into a bigger unit. We opened a third space, my husband and I, out in Ponte Vedra. And it was right in there in 2019 that I was approached to make a phone call with this guy, Dennis Mulgannon, out in California. And maybe he would look at our business and want to take us on as one of his brands, which he did. And I'm eternally grateful. And we launched in the height of COVID, which was really slow, as you can imagine. But I'm glad for that slowness because it allowed me to figure out how I can help other people in the best way. I mean, this has always been a family business, and now I'm, helping others be successful. So it really taught us what to do, what not to do, what to require of our owners to make sure that they're successful when they open. So yeah, 2021, we had 8 open, 2022, 13 open. I can't see what 2023 says, but we are going to be, I think, 18 open before the end of the year and 30 plus units sold at this point. So it's very exciting to see the growth. I think we're in 17 states now. So yay.
Hey, Stephanie, may I jump in?
Absolutely.
So, well, first of all, congratulations to you and the team,
Thank you.
for continuing to open these stores. Just, do you find that from an infrastructure standpoint, as you can see that curve is probably reflective, right? That growth. Do you find that are you increasing the infrastructure as you go to support owners? Has that been a challenge, or how do you manage through that?
As far as the physical location of that, the infrastructure?
No, just being able to support more and more franchisees who come on board.
It's been such a team effort. I mean, having the national team of real estate agents has been a huge help. Working with Gary and his brokers across the country, there's no way that I would be able to keep up with the pace that we're at right now without his team in place. That's been a huge help. Having Cynthia and her team of recruiters help with the art teacher search has been amazing. I'm able to stay focused on what I'm good at, which is this business and training our teachers, which is really important to me because I feel like that's really going to ultimately determine the success of each studio, is what is being produced, what is walking out the door of that studio, because ultimately that's the marketing for your business. So having the bandwidth to control the quality has been really important to me, and I've been able to do that. I do have help with that now. Luckily, I have some family in-house that are helping me with different things, but the growth is incredible. And I am already looking far in the future of how we can maintain this, because to me, it's not about quantity, it's all about quality. And I don't want to just be opening 1 million of these things if the quality isn't here, because to me, it's like, what's the point? I don't believe in opening a subpar studio, because my passion.
Yeah, and I'll throw a couple things on. Is really we're big believers in really identifying partners, not vendors, right? People who are going to be with us for the long term. So whether it, as Stephanie said, our real estate team, get experts in that field. In the recruiting of teachers, identify those and team with them. The marketing piece, our marketing team, as we apply lessons learned, we are on our 3rd marketing team since we launched. It's no fun to have to, fire a friend. We did. Our first marketing team was a really good friend of mine. But what's our message? How do we go to market? Who resonates and gets us? And then building that out. And so I'm really excited about where we are, where we're going, and also a lot of the tools and technology behind the scenes. We've got where we do our scheduling of all our kiddos. Sawyer Tools is fantastic. It's seamless integration, integrates with our website. They sign up their kiddos, etc. We'll share a little bit more about that. And our technologies for our teachers, as Stephanie was talking about. Also, I put on an operations hat with CAC as well. Right now, we've built out our collaboration portal for our owners, our training portal for our teachers, and now are actively building out really that QA/QC portal for our teachers, so that we're ensuring, as Stephanie talked about, that quality of art that comes in, that we're teaching there, making sure that we are maintaining that really academy level instruction. And so, it's continuing to grow. And gosh, I look back on, when we first met Stephanie and, Mike Roberts from WaveMax introduced us. And it's like, wow, we are, version 4.0 now, and just the last few years. And, as we look forward to that strategy of, what does version 4.1 and 5 and 6 look like? And we live and breathe that every day.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
I'm that ops nerd.
Thank God he is, because that is not my wheelhouse, as Sean knows very well. So here's the map. I'm so excited to see us out west. I mean, I grew up in New Mexico. I keep waiting for a New Mexico studio to come up, but I'm sure it'll get there. But it's exciting, very exciting to see growth. We got to work on the Midwest. We need more Midwest people. I've got family in Minnesota. I've got a few possibilities out there, but very exciting to see the growth of where we are and more coming.
And keep in mind, those are like 1/8-inch, 1/4-inch pins on a 3,000-mile map. So if you look at it like, there's one in Phoenix. It's in Scottsdale. Gilbert, Chandler, etc. will support many, like 7, 8 studios in time. And then, when we look over here, DC Metro, that's lit up. Of all of these, in Tampa Metro, my wife grew up, went to St. Pete High, lots of availability in Tampa, St. Pete. And the only market, frankly, I think that are sold out are 2, Jack's, because we will open future corporate studios, probably with our students, not necessarily with Stephanie, and also Raleigh. So Raleigh Metro is sold out. Pretty exciting there. But the world's your oyster, great availability. And I remember, when we first started looking at this, like, all right, cool, we've got a few in Jacksonville, and now we've just got an amazing team. People share, they collaborate, they best practices. We talk about that marketing, right? Is cool. How does that work in Florida? Isn't always perfect for how it works in Denver. Good, let's tune it and refine it. Same thing when we look at San Jose. We are marketing to those Silicon Valley tech cajillionaires who want to get their kids off the screen. Coast to coast, that marketing works, but they're very like anti-screens, cool. So, looking at that. Anyway, I keep on tagging in, Stephanie. If I keep on doing that, we'll never get through everything, but I'm just delighted as I see this map and our owners and people succeeding coast to coast.
Very exciting. Thanks, Sean. I mentioned before, we really do retain our students year after year. This is Anastasia. She was 3 when she started. She's a senior with me this year. She's going to be doing amazing things, but I know that, again, it's all about the quality. These parents see that their kid is actually learning something, and watching them grow as a human, in so many different ways, has always been my favorite part of teaching in our studio. Is knowing that
My favorite part is 15 years of monthly recurring revenue.
And the revenue isn't bad.
That stickiness is amazing. Yeah, that's not bad after 15 years.
Yeah. And then you get their siblings coming. Now I've had a kid, her little baby sister, who's now 5, is going to be joining us, which is pretty cool because I've known that little baby since she was an infant. So very cool. They keep coming. So big opportunity for you as an owner. It's wonderful because you don't have to reinvent the wheel all year long. You create your fall schedule. That's one schedule. And you can literally keep enrolling children all year long as your schedule goes on. Art 1 is really the only one that's affected. So Art 1, up until a certain point, you can keep enrolling new students up until about the end of March. But then after that, it's like, you've missed too much. But I mean, all the little ones, they just jump in. As long as you have an opening in the class, you can enroll a new student at any point during the year. So it's really nice to have to to not have to plan activities. Everything is set up and then it just goes for 9 months. The second time that you make your schedule is for your summer. This really is a part-time business. I opened my Ponte Vedra Beach location knowing that I would never teach at that studio, and I might be there once every few months to make sure it's not burned down. I've got an awesome teacher. She's 22 years, retired art teacher, and she really is more like a manager. So there's a lot that goes into what the teacher does. It's a huge part of our teacher training when we come see you, is what that job entails for our teacher. But you can manage this business with one teacher. That one teacher can really teach up into about 170 kids on her own 5-day schedule before you need to hire another teacher. So that's pretty cool. This business doesn't cost an extreme amount of money compared to some other franchise opportunities. You can really go all in around $95,000 to $100,000. The build out costs are minimal. I think that's a huge part of it. So I think the biggest benefit for you and the biggest opportunity is that we've done this for so long and we've fallen into holes. You don't have to go through all that. You know, we've lived it. We've lived through a whole bunch of different things: COVID, Y2K, real estate crisis. You know, it's a kid business though. And I think that's why we've survived for so long. Not just survived, prospered for so long, because parents don't want to take their kids out of what they're used to. You know, maybe they'll put off a kitchen reno, but they don't want to take their kids out of their activities. So I think that that's contributing to why we've had so much success over the years. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Hey, Stephanie, can I jump in? I'm sorry. I know.
Yes, please. No, Blake, go ahead.
So, can you comment at all around the competition that you typically see? Right. I mean, to me, children's art classes, without knowing anything, you know, I think this is just my assumption, right or wrong, is that you could probably find art classes being offered in any, you know, just about any major city. Is there something that sets CAC apart? Do you guys do anything different, or is the competition just not, you're not seeing it there? Like any comment would be educational for me.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about this, Blake, because we're constantly shocked how little is available for kids for art in a real way. Now, you'll see museums having like 2 to 3 week workshops, come in, do a painting, and then off you go. But as far as a comprehensive program that's really teaching the fundamentals to kids in such a way where they're able to continue year after year, I still have yet to see competition that measures up. There's nothing really apples to apples. There's Abracadoodle, which serves its purpose, which is more like a daycare with some crayons, and you know, kids can be creative. There's a lot of places where you can go and do a crafty. You know, what my business in Ponte Vedra shares a wall with Pinspiration. And if you're not familiar with Pinterest, Pinterest is, you know, a website where people can go and get crafty ideas, and they have a brick and mortar place called Pinspiration, and it literally shares a wall with my studio out there, and it doesn't hurt my business in any way, because you've got people going there to drink wine and paint on their board, and then they'll see my business and say, oh my gosh, I didn't even know, or whatever. And it's just totally different. That serves its purpose and we serve our purpose. But you know, even in Manhattan, which I'm going to this weekend to open, I was shocked by the lack of opportunity there for kids in this way, where they can keep coming and keep coming. And then now they're building a portfolio and actually getting money for school because of the work that they've done in the studio. So I don't know. That's all I can say on that.
Yeah, that's great. And just one last thing, you mentioned early on how you guys have kind of learned through mistakes. What happened during COVID?
Oh my gosh.
Like what did you guys have to shut the doors for a period of time? I'm assuming, you know, but maybe just comment on that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm very grateful that we were in Florida, because we were able to still have our business. We didn't know what to do when COVID, the word got out and everybody was so scared. It was right after St. Patrick's Day. We had just put on a huge party at the studio, and the kids did a clay project, and it was like the day after, and our parents were calling us going, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep the doors open? Like, what do we do with this? Because everybody was scared. You didn't know what was happening. So we kept every student going from the middle of March to the end of May when the curriculum was done. We did little videos of us doing the lesson. And then we did it like we put it on a YouTube channel and the kids would watch their lesson, and we built art kits and the parents were picking up their art supplies for their lesson. And we limped it along until the end of May. We didn't lose $1 of revenue. We kept all of our kids. And then by June, we opened again for summer workshops. So we were functional, paying bills, never went into the negative. And then in fall, we had about 15 families that were too afraid to bring their kids back to the studio. So we did web-based Wednesdays, which was just the most challenging thing ever, because here we are doing Zoom with these students, like art instruction. It was difficult, but we did it. And I have all those lessons recorded, and so our teachers can use that as training because I have them all. So we made it work. You know, you have to be creative when it's your livelihood and your business. You got to think on your feet, and so we know we can survive it. It's tons of work. I'd much rather not have to do that, but we did it. We made it.
And Blake,
That's a brilliant
I can
story.
add to that.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
But I was just going to say, we launched CAC March of 2020. Sean and I are the most brilliant guys in the world. Let's launch it when COVID hit. Woo, go team.
Yeah.
So we had a really, really slow start, but by far, this is our hottest brand, easily. I mean, we would probably have 75 to 85 studios operating today if COVID had not hit. I'm not an if guy. I'm just saying that our development was slower. Now it's on fire. It's been discovered. So we're really excited about what's happening.
Well, Trey, and I echo Stephanie's point. I'm actually glad in hindsight that it was slow. We got to learn and grow together, and do that. Really about versioning is, okay, version 1 and then 2, and make sure we listen to our owners and continue to improve and bring the services. Again, I'll go back to like marketing firms or the folks that are helping recruiting teachers. We didn't have a national firm that specializes in recruiting teachers when we launched. Now we do. It's awesome.
We didn't even require that you had to have an art teacher. It was a suggestion.
Oh, that was a mistake. Okay, that's a good example.
Big learning moments for me as a franchisor that are benefiting our new owners going forward. So. Okay, owners' role and schedule. I mentioned this before. Twice a year, you're making your schedule. I walk you through your first schedule creation. I have a proposed schedule that we use as new owners based on all of our years of scheduling and what we know works for different times for the different classes. So you're not having to think about that. We know that we don't want to flood your schedule with 6 different tiny hands classes. That's our smallest class and the most work for the teacher. So, you know, I help you with that schedule creation and teach you how to use Sawyer tools to develop your schedule. So we do a one-on-one, and then I give you some homework so you can learn how to do it. So you're creating your fall schedule. We typically create our fall schedule in April, and we do that because you're re-registering all your students that are still in classes. So we give priority to all of our families that are still with us. So you get that fall schedule created really early. And then your summer schedule is created, and that's created in February. And that's going to be for all your summer workshops. And now we're doing summer camps. So twice a year, you're looking at that schedule creation. Your marketing overall, in the beginning, we do everything. We basically go, this is available, and we do it all. And then we track and see what works for you. So you're not wasting your marketing dollars on things that are not bringing you new students. So your marketing becomes very planned as an owner. You see what works, and then you just stay consistent. You want to always market every single month. In August, like this month, is the month of open houses. And we do that every Saturday in the month of August because we typically start in September. In Florida, we do anyway, because the kids go back to school super early here. And so we start on purpose 3 weeks to 4 weeks after school starts. So in some of our markets, you know, they're smart and they go back after Labor Day, which is appropriate in my opinion. So then the classes won't kick off until October. So it just depends on where you are and when your kids go back to school. We don't want students who just started their school to come into our classes. They're too tired and their parents are fried. So we do that by design. We start later, about 3 to 4 weeks later. So you have time to do open houses, which is at the studio. New parents can come in with their kids, learn about the program, meet the teacher, see the studio. The open house we just had in Saratoga Springs was the most insane open house I've ever seen. I mean, it was standing room only, 10 to 2. There was 7 of us there, the teachers, my mom and I for training. It was all hands on deck. It was insane. And all they did was put out some balloons and, you know, post it to Facebook because everybody in town knows they're there. Again, visibility is everything. So anyhow, in spring is when we do the publishing for our new schedules. Parents plan early for summer. So we want to make sure everything's ready to launch for your marketing by March. By March, parents are signing kids up for summer camps and everything else. It's Looney Tunes, but that's how it goes. So back to school planning is important too. Again, kid business, you want to think about what kind of events can you participate as a business. So with the schools, it's back to school events, meet the teacher events where you can have a table with all of your pamphlets and maybe an activity for the kids to do. Those are the type of events that build your business in the beginning. It's all different in the beginning before you're really open. That marketing effort looks a lot different than ongoing marketing. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit more, I think, about that. I'm trying to follow the slides as much as
you never do. It doesn't matter. We're good.
I don't. So while you're in session, your teacher is required to attend a once a month teacher training. And I love the teacher trainings because I'm a teacher by trade and I get to meet with all of our CAC instructors. Owners are always invited to attend these trainings, but you're not required, but your teachers are. So it is your responsibility as an owner to make sure your teachers are showing up to these trainings. So that's a part of your responsibility. And they also have to submit photographs to me. So that's kind of your micromanagement there, is making sure your teachers show up to their training once a month and that they're submitting their pictures so I can give you the quality control that you need as a new business. As far as running the business, you know, your costs don't change. It's very predictable. You know, you have the same rent and teacher pay and dumpster costs and, you know, things like that. But as far as orders, having Sawyer Tools is fantastic. So everything's done online. All the revenue collection is done online. So once they're signed up, it's a monthly charge that's automatic to the credit card that they use when they registered their kid. You'll see if something doesn't process, if somebody's card was compromised or expired or whatnot, but you don't have to do anything about it. So Sawyer tracks these people, kind of harasses them, so to speak, every day until they update their card. So you can see by the end of the month that all of those, maybe there's 5 outstanding tuitions that weren't paid. By the end of the month, they're taken care of. So it's really nice to have that in place. I've seen it on the other side in the early days where everything was check, money order, or cash. And I felt like I lived at the bank making deposits or tracking people down for bounced checks. And you don't have to do any of that, which is really nice. Monthly as an owner, you will be submitting a gross revenue report and a marketing report, which just shows your marketing spend. And the gross revenue report is tracked and run through Sawyer as well. So fairly easy reports to do, and we teach you how to do it. You may want to offer birthday parties and special events at your studio. Why not? There's a lot of opportunity for additional revenue outside of your regular classes. So coordinating those parties is an owner responsibility. It's just finding out if your teacher's available. So-and-so wants a party Saturday afternoon, your teacher's available, you basically pass the baton. So now the teacher and the parent are communicating, they can figure out the project. Sawyer Tools books the party, revenue's collected through your software. So it's just that communication and coordination between the teacher and the parent once the party's booked. Owners meetings I conduct once a month. I do not do them in summertime because I think most of our owners are family people who travel in summer, and as do I, for different reasons now, mostly trainings. But so owners meetings will pick back up in September, and we meet once a month as an organization. It's a very positive phone call. We celebrate successes at different studios. We talk about what's working for marketing. It's not an opportunity for anything negative that's taken offline. I don't believe in spreading nasty throughout an organization. So it's a great call, and we've got great people on the call. So that's once a month. And weekly, I think as a new owner looks different again. Your weekly responsibilities in the beginning, be at your studio, learn your business. I tell our owners, you can expect to be at your studio at least 4 hours a week. Yes, this is semi-absentee, but it's still a business that you have to nurture until it's walking. It's your baby. So you want to plan to be there at least 4 hours a week, observing. A lot of our owners are taking the classes so they can actually possibly teach some of these classes themselves at some point, which is great. But yeah, learn your business. I think that goes for anything that you should do. You need to know your business. And that way, when you talk to parents, you are going to feel more confident about what you're explaining to them as far as what the classes are and what the kids are being taught. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. Communication between your teacher and you is really important as well. So they're going to have what they need. You guys order in bulk for your supplies, but if they run out of toilet paper or paper towel, you need to know that. I give my teacher a little card so she can go buy incidentals because I'm an hour away from our studio out at the beach. So I don't want to do a 2-hour round trip for toilet paper. So I give her a little card. She can pick some up. Your first year, and I want to slow down there. That was a lot said. So does anybody have any questions about any of these responsibilities as an owner?
I have a question
Yes.
about.
Oh, sorry. After you, Jessica. Go ahead.
I have a question about the curriculum. Say you open in like November or December, your franchise. What about how, is that possible? Do we have to wait a whole nother year to open up to coincide with the school year? How does it work if we open the franchise mid-year?
We've done it all, Jessica. That's a great question. I've opened a couple studios in November, which, believe it or not, can still be done. The whole Art One curriculum, which is the most important because it's foundational. The little kids, their skill level kind of stays the same throughout the year. So their projects are only like 2 weeks long, and they can literally start anytime during the school year, and they just jump in and they do the project that everybody else is doing. They don't do makeups from what they missed. Art One is different. So if you had a November opening, what we would do to get through Art One is we shrink the size of 2 of the projects. And that actually shaves off a few weeks that we need from each project, which catches you up. So that is totally doable. If you were to plan an opening in December, I would say we would use December to promote, market, sell these classes as Christmas presents, give your child the gift of art, and then launch in January, because a lot of kids change activities, from fall to winter or whatever. So the timing of a January opening actually is perfectly fine. And we have a curriculum for Art One it's called the interim curriculum. So it gets the 9 and up kids into your studio, but it's going to be different from the regular Art One that you're going to roll out in fall. So everything else is the same. All the intro and tiny and beginning, all of those projects are the same. It would be Art One that we would roll out that interim curriculum. So nothing would repeat for these kids when they come back for fall, because that does affect the timeline in a way where we just have to roll to the interim, and that's okay. We've done it.
Okay. Thank you.
We're not going to prevent you from starting your business whenever it's ready. So we've got a plan for whenever your opening may be.
All right, good to know. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Not sure. Was it Blake? Do you have another question?
Blake. Yeah, sorry, I got it.
No, please.
The supplies that are in each of the store and the video at the front, are those all ordered locally? Do all the owners go locally, or are those things that you ship out as kind of like art packs? That's the first question.
Okay.
The second question is, are teachers on payroll as W-2s, or are they 1099 contractors?
Okay.
And then I'll stop there, and then I've got two more other quick questions.
Okay, sure. So we have ordered from Blick for like, well, I say we, my mom's ordered from Blick for 40 plus years. They've got quality supplies that are for students, and Blick is national. They're nationwide. So we have a corporate account. You get a slight discount because they've got really good sales and stuff on their art supplies. When you as a teacher order, we order in summertime when everything's on sale. So a huge volume of your supplies are from Blick, and the prices are the same across the board no matter where you are, and they ship directly to your location. And I've got it all itemized by what you need to order the first year, the second year, the third year, and so on. There's a huge chunk of supplies that you need from Walmart. There's a huge chunk that's from Hobby Lobby. And then there's some from Staples and there's some from Home Depot. So because it's an art studio, I mean, you can get a little creative with, if the supply says you need a blender, I don't care where you buy your blender, just go get your blender. But everything is what you need. And it's great now that we have so many owners on, if they find things that are the same but a better deal in a certain place, we're putting that all in the ops manual so people have options to shop and maybe get better prices on some of these things. So that's the supply situation. W-2 all the way. There's just too many red flags to do 1099s at this point. Because you have a set schedule, that's like the first flag. Like your teacher's coming a set amount of hours, you probably got to W-2 them.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
On the online payment system that you were talking about, is that something that it's already set up, the franchise has it, and it's used by any owner that comes on, or does that have to be set up locally by each owner?
So this was one of those situations where, as a family business, we used Sawyer Tools for a few years. It took a little prodding to get my mom off the pen and paper registration forms and into the online world, but glad we did it. So this was a situation where I knew I wanted to use Sawyer Tools for all of our studios, and we made more of a partnership instead of a vendor. We're partners with Sawyer Tools. So I negotiated early on that when we have a new owner ready to create their first new schedule, there's things called listings in Sawyer, and it's basically for every class that we offer. You've got a picture, you've got a course description, you've got an age group. All of that stuff was going to have to be set up by the owner initially, and I was like, no, because there's like 50 listings. It would take forever. So I said, no, if we're going to make our owners use Sawyer Tools, your team's going to set this up, and you're going to have all of this stuff ready for our owner so I can make the schedule with them as soon as we're ready to. So all of that's going to be in place for you. Pricing, time frame, all of that, you and I work together to figure out what works best for you are. I'm not going to dictate pricing. It's all dependent on how much your rent is. So we adjust those certain things, but everything else is set up. You have to give your banking information when you open your Sawyer account. You'll have your individual Sawyer account that you pay monthly. It's like $1.99 a month. So you'll have to give your banking information, and all of that is specific to you and your location. But all the setup is.
And Blake, super important is when those payments come in the front door from a parent, it goes to your account, not a children's art class's corporate account.
Right. It's
so,
your bank.
And so that's nice. There's no like, okay, it goes to corporate now, take my distribution, etc. So that's super streamlined. And goodness, I would tell you, Stephanie talked about it way back in the day when they were chasing like accounts receivable and bounce checks and all kinds of things. It's like, oh, I love it. And it's set up monthly recurring revenue. Blake, you as a coach, you see tons of businesses out there. That's one of my favorite things about our business is that MRR. So, the first of every month that ACH or credit card payment hits goes into our owner's account. And then we look forward to that next round next month. So it's really streamlined.
Okay, that's great. And then just the last question here, this round is, you mentioned the owner's call. And whenever I hear that, the first thing that comes to mind is people get into business because they don't want a boss, they don't want to be told what to do, but yet they have to follow the guidelines of the franchise, right? Obviously. What is the content of the owner's call? Like you said, it's positive, but you talk about new and upcoming, I don't know, what are you talking about?
So Blake, I am the furthest thing from a corporate American as you can get. Just let it be out there. I've been lucky to be a business owner for much of my life. So I'm not structured in that way. And I was told of the importance coming into this franchise opportunity, the importance of a monthly call. I wasn't really too keen on the idea, to be very real. But I do realize that it matters to our owners that we are connected in that way. I keep it very relevant to what's happening. I didn't have a monthly call in August this month because I told you we go on summer break. But my owner's email out to everybody was, hey, it's August. Did you update your Google My Business? Have you done your art supplies? It's everything relevant to the month of business that we're in, if that makes sense. So I keep it very relevant. I don't send an agenda ahead of a time. I don't do it that way. I just want to make it very relevant to our owners because I'm living this with them. I'm still running my own businesses here. So I have the pulse on what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. And then, yeah, if somebody had an art show or something at their studio, that was great. We talk about that. I try to talk to everybody, but it's kind of getting harder as we're getting bigger, but that's really the gist of the call.
All right, that's great. So it sounds like it's collaborative and it's really meant to help the owners, not
Absolutely.
Right,
I'm not
that's-
really one to dictate anything. I'm going to say it if it's relevant and it's useful.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always a balance, right? You want the owners to be engaged, you want them to support you and all of that. So that sounds great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Oh, one more thing I wanted to touch on. When we come to your business training, not your business training, excuse me, when we come out to your teacher training at your studio site, so much of the training is expectation and going through what we expect of them as teachers, what they should be expecting of their students, and what our owners should expect of their teacher. I mean, there's a lot of expectation here. So I spend a lot of time on that because I do feel like that it's the most important thing in anything that you do is setting the right expectation. So part of that is, the teacher has to be in charge of keeping the studio clean, talking to parents that come into your lobby. There's more than just teaching that goes on here. So when we hire that teacher, there's those elements that I look for. They have to be able to communicate and not be such an introvert that they're not able to talk to prospects coming into your studio because it's a business, not just the teaching. So all of that is communicated with your teacher when I come out to your training at the studio. This is a sample schedule, not even a schedule, just a sample of what you're going to have your first year in business. The highest level of the curriculum that you'll have in place is Art 1, because Art 1 is the foundation for everything else. So like I said, I help you with your schedule. You might have a couple days that you have tiny hands on there. Intro is a very popular class for the 5 and 6 year olds. So we'll probably have that at least 3, if not 4 different times on your schedule. Beginning art's the same, very popular. You'll have it at least 3 or 4 times in different places on the schedule. And Art 1 is everybody else. So you will have a lot of Art 1 classes on your schedule, probably 7 or 8 Art 1 classes. But Art 2 won't be on there until you're 2 years old. So it's nice because your teacher grows into the curriculum. You're only adding 1 level on at a time as you're open that 2nd year. And then your 3rd year, you'll add Art 3. So excited. We have owners adding Art 4 to their curriculum this year, which is really cool. Exciting to see that. So I help you with that development. But a lot of other activities can be added. Our owners out in Utah are going to be doing a lot of morning classes because there's such a huge homeschool population where he lives that he's going to be adding 10 o'clock Tuesday mornings for this co-op of homeschool kids. There's a lot of that opportunity there. If you have senior citizens in your community that want to take art, you're just going to provide them Art 1 for the curriculum, but maybe your seniors can meet Wednesdays at 11 o'clock. You have all of these hours at your studio where you're not teaching. So there's a lot of opportunity to add on to the core of what you do in your classes. Questions about some of these add-ons?
This was definitely one of my questions. I wanted to understand this a little bit more.
Sure.
Because one of the things I loved about the numbers was that you the numbers were based off, more of like a lifestyle, kind of business, and I wanted to try and understand how much more you can sweat the business if you wanted to. So what was obvious to me was obviously party events. What was obvious, the homeschooling thing was really obvious. Stephanie, you and I spoke about the adult classes, which I think is great, especially here in Florida.
Yeah.
Just when it comes to when you're closed in August, is there anything in August that we could be doing other than these kind of events? Or is there any other not so obvious parts to driving more revenue? I guess that's my question.
I mean, you can absolutely try, Jet, but 26 years, nobody does anything in August. People are coming home from traveling, they're getting ready to go back to school. August is what it is. And you as an owner need to have some time to prep and get your supplies put away, get your stuff painted up if you need to have touch-ups in the studio. You have to have that time too. You could try it, but it doesn't work. August is what it is. But open houses are so huge for your business. I think we did 20 new students this last open house. It's a no-brainer. So use August. You'll see revenue because they have to pay their first month tuition, their registration, their supply. They have to pay that chunk when they sign up. So you'll still see your revenue in August. You just won't have teachers in there teaching.
Okay.
Now, opportunities are all about that teacher. So if your teacher's available in August and you want to push birthday parties, do it. Doesn't mean people don't have birthdays in August. And it's so hot, in Florida, it's nasty. Nobody wants to be outside unless it's a swim party. Book birthday parties. You can book birthdays all day long. But yeah, workshops and things like that, it's tricky because people are, like I said, they're going back to school or they're coming home from vacation and there's not a huge drive for August.
Okay. Is there any other month that is really August the month that is pretty much shut down? Is there any other month that gets close to that in the year?
No, because you're teaching 38 weeks of the school year. So you're in business September through May, and then the very next week you're into summer and summer workshops and camps. So I mean, you're really going. It's just dependent on you, Jet. We don't do birthday parties hardly ever at our studio because we don't want to. It's not that we couldn't, but we want some family time. It's however you want to run it. It's however motivated your teachers are. My teacher out at the beach, she snatches up any special event, birthday party, whatever I need her to do. She wants to do it. So by all means, but it's a little different at our Jacksonville studio just because it's me and my mom and we like to go on the boat every once in a while. We used to anyway.
Yep, no, that makes sense. But Robert, doing one of the owner validations, Robert was great, and he's pushing. You said he was pushing, party events a lot because he was synergy with his wife. She loves to run those.
She does.
So they don't even really involve the teachers when it comes to that. She kind of runs that, so it makes total sense.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, your wife as a teacher, then you don't have to pay somebody. She enjoys it. She likes it. Keep it in house. That's fantastic. She's available.
The special needs part there. It was a light bulb for me there when talking to Robert. He said, his teachers battle to deal with. He had a couple of lessons learned from that and teach, kids that are behavioral issues. They need to be able to focus and do the curriculum, right? Obviously, but special needs I think there's such a huge gap for that, and
there's such a need. There's such a need for it, an opportunity there to help the special needs community. So it's great.
Perfect. Thanks.
Absolutely. Great questions. Keep them coming, guys.
So the school year in Arizona is a bit different.
Okay, talk to me.
And I know you guys have some Arizona stuff going on, so it may be too early. I don't know if Utah does a similar thing, but our kids go back to school like the beginning of the 3rd week of July.
Holy cow, do they really?
Yeah. And we get out like the 3rd week of May.
Okay, so it's just adjusting, Carrie, to your school schedule and seeing when the school year starts and then basically starting you 3 weeks after that. So you've got some open house time in there at the studio. And remember, the timing is all about not having the kids exhausted and not
Right.
having the parents like out of their minds.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we can make that work. It just depends. That's early though. That's the earliest I've ever heard.
Well, Florida isn't exactly comfortable in August.
Oh, it's terrible.
Either, so
it's awful.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
And I was thinking too, like breaks. I mean, school breaks would be an opportunity, obviously, to do some of these workshops and things.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Again,
we have several 2-week breaks during the year.
you could do special events till the cows came home. It's all about when, if the teacher's available to do it. Christmas workshops, that's all part of the curriculum too. We have a whole binder full of special events. So if you guys wanted to do, like we do a sugar skull Halloween clay party, that's just a huge success. We usually have about 40 kids sign up and they make the clay sugar skull, and we do it up though. We get them goodie bags and treats and just make it so cool so they come to all of them. But it's all about if the teacher's available to do it.
Thank you.
This is a typical schedule. I like to start new owners with a 5-day schedule. Either do a Monday through Thursday and then a Saturday, or Tuesday through Friday and a Saturday. You can always add to your schedule, but in the beginning, you want to, you don't want to give too many options. So having that 5-day-a-week schedule is usually plenty to start. And then worst case, maybe you have to add classes to a Monday or add classes to a Friday, or hire on another teacher and double a schedule on one of the days that you're open. So there's definitely some flexibility. My personal preference is to be closed on Mondays, because of trial and error through the years, a lot of holidays fall on Mondays and the kids won't come. Even though you have art class and we don't take off, they still won't come. So it's a lot more makeups for the teacher. So I would recommend a Tuesday through Friday, Saturday schedule, just from experience. And again, I'll help you so you don't have too many of one class versus another class. All right, special events are great. We offer painting on canvas or clay projects. Clay is fantastic for little kids when they come in. They really like to do a hand building project. I let the teacher be in charge of what they want to do for the project. It's usually based on the party's theme. I guess those kids in there, they had like a unicorn party or something. They're painting on canvas and they're doing unicorns. We had a puppy party down below. So the teachers love it because they're creative by nature and they get to have more input on the party projects. But we limit it to clay or painting just to keep it easy on you guys as owners. The pot on the far right, I'm gonna take a moment and let Sean and Dennis talk about that. Pretty fantastic opportunity for our kids at our children's art classes studios. You guys want to touch on that special event?
Go to the next slide and I'll let Dennis take it.
Okay, great.
So who remembers the Brady Bunch? Okay, good. So we have my family, we have a charity ranch about 30 minutes from our house here in Northern California. And we raise money for a organization called Keaton's Child Cancer Alliance. So we raise money for families and children with cancer. And I'm a baseball fan and I'm a mid-century modern design fan. Those are my two hobbies, if you will. And on this property, I built a miniature version of Fenway Park, the Red Sox home field. It's a wiffle ball field, and we hold charity wiffle ball tournaments year round, and we raise lots of money for the cause. But the house itself, I rebuilt in mid-century modern, and one of the things I wanted to do was put in the Brady Bunch staircase. So that's actually in our house, not from the Brady Bunch. And I needed to replicate the pot, the famous pot that Bobby throws the ball down and breaks, Mama's pot. And so we did a scholarship for the kid who did the best, replicated the pot, and there it is. And we paid him, I think, $250 scholarship fee to replicate it for us. So anyways, there's the story. I'm sticking to it.
I love it. Oh, the student was so excited. And you guys can do cool stuff like that, you know, with your business and give kids the opportunity to participate in different ways, and create your own contests. It was so much fun. I love it.
Hey, I'm starting to wonder when I looked at that Brady Bunch video, how many takes did it take for that basketball to hit that
Right?
artwork?
It wasn't one, I guarantee it.
No kidding. All right. Any questions so far? We're doing okay?
You know, I've got
Well, you
one
guys, this is
burning.
the best.
I've got one burning question, Stephanie,
Okay.
and I'm not sure if it's the appropriate time to ask. When I think of a semi-absentee, first of all, everything you've done here has just been tremendous. It's been great. You guys have put on such a really good educational session for us, so thank you for that. When I think of a semi-absentee business, the only thing that really gives me pause is a brick and mortar, right?
Right.
We talk about COVID and all that, and I just wanted to get a sense from you: is there anything that you can say that would get people comfortable with a brick and mortar location in terms of risk or anything like that?
You know,
Monthly recurring revenue.
Yeah, that
Sorry.
helps.
Once you, I mean, my take, Blake, and broadly when we look at financials and pro forma. Sorry, the numbers nerd is just jumping in. We look at break-even analysis. So how many kids does it take to cover rent, utilities, and cleaning, etc. And then what are my variable costs, right? Because now I've got to have X number of classes to offer that. Now I've covered my nut, right? And that number typically is about 55 kids. And so now, as long as I've got that and I've got that monthly recurring revenue, fantastic. Now I'm able to grow and get up to 100 kids, 125, 150, or 340 something that we've got in Jacks. So that's how I fundamentally look at the business, is look at what is that monthly nut, what do I have to hit, and then frankly every kiddo over that, yes, I've got variable costs associated, merchant service fees for the payments, etc. But it's pretty straightforward. And when you look at the brick and mortar, all right, cool, got to pay my rent next, and that's going to probably be 35 kids. All right, cool. What's my next chunk? And that's a couple of kids. So hopefully that helps. I mean, Stephanie, by all means, I learned that stuff from you, and then we modeled it out, and I think it holds very true. Or you're somebody like Jared up in Saratoga Springs, who has 200 kids show up to his grand opening pre-opening party. Oh, all right, no worries there. That'll be good. So, and you're going to see in the marketing as we come up to that, everything that we built is built to grow and scale to that initial goal of 100 kids, right? Launch with 100, and then you're comfortable.
Yeah, I always think in terms. Oh, go ahead, Dennis.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, you have to compare apples to apples. We're brick and mortar, so there's no denying it. We're not going to not be brick and mortar. So once people get past that they're accepting of, okay, I have to go get 12 to 1,500 square feet, inline retail, complementary businesses, right side of the street, X amount of parking space, all the stuff that goes into real estate. Once that's solved, then it gets easy, because the fact of the matter is, if you compare a CAC to any other brick and mortar, and I'll take it personal, WaveMax. If you guys don't know who WaveMax is, it's the nation's largest laundromat chain. Sean and I launched that one also. The founder of WaveMax, Mike Roberts, is who introduced us to Stephanie and Barb at children's art classes. Why? Because Mike's daughter was a lifer there. She went through the entire program, and Mike said, hey, you guys should look at this. It looks like it's scalable, blah, blah, blah. And as they say, the rest is history. But if you take this and compare this to a WaveMax, so we're about 100K. We're about $1.2 million for a WaveMax, 3,000 square feet, permitting, massive build out, blah, 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 blah. I hate to say it on camera and we're recording, but it's about the same ROI. So when you compare apples to apples, you compare us against haircutting salon franchises, you compare any other food. I don't franchise food because if you don't grow up in the restaurant industry, you have no business being in it. That's my simple opinion. I can't, in all good honesty, tell somebody your lifestyle is going to get better, because that's my goal. Yeah, make money, but let's make your life better in terms of time with your family and everything. This is so solid, it's scary in terms of if you're going to take on brick and mortar, this is about as good as it gets. Just my 2 cents of doing this for 35 years. Yes, I started when I was 7. Always have.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I always think in terms of kids, especially when owners are looking, and maybe a site that we really love is $1,000 more than this other one around the corner. I'm like, how many more kids will you get by being that much more visible? So is it worth it? We always think in terms of kids. You think you're going to get 4 extra kids or 5 extra kids to cover that difference in rent by being in front of everybody's face? Yeah, you will. So, you got to think about long-term success, how many kids, and the costs of rent change, wherever you are. Billings, Montana is quite a bit different than Manhattan, but we want to cover rent with anywhere from 35 to 45 kids. That's how I come up with how much to charge for tuition. It's a magical formula, so intense. It really works. So we don't want to come into the market too hot and scare other families off. We want to be affordable to more than one kid in the family. We have families with 4 and 5 of their kids signed up for art classes because we're affordable. We don't want to be too expensive where people can't afford to bring their kids. So let's see what that looks like. Don't be afraid of the rent costs. How many kids is it going to take to cover that rent? And is that price relevant to other kid activities in your area? How much are people paying for swimming, for voice lessons, for whatever? We want to get that comparison and make sure that we're in the running. So I don't know. It's not scary to me because we don't have that many expenses and they're so fixed. You know what to expect, so most people right now are covering all their expenses with about 65 kids. That's teacher pay, rent, cleaning. That's all the expenses. 65 to 70 would give you a big buffer. After that, it's profit. How exciting can that be when you know that every single kid after 70 kids is in your pocket? It gets real exciting really fast because you can have 300 kids, but your costs don't change. Well, maybe you have to hire another teacher. That's a good problem to have.
Tiny variable. Stephanie, I'm giving you a time check. You got a lot of content to hit in 27
All right,
minutes.
let's go. Here we go. Curriculum. This
is our secret sauce.
This is
the value.
This is what makes this business. This is what you're buying into. I think that this is why nobody's done this. It's because it took my mother years of her life perfecting this curriculum and how to make it accessible to kids and how to teach them in a certain way where every kid can have success. This is what you're getting. And this is why most people haven't done this. This is why you don't see programs that have year after year after year of continuous art education, because I truly think it took her half a lifetime to get the program where it's at. And it's fun because now we have all these creatives joining our team, and the summer workshops, if you have a teacher with a background in digital art, well, let's put that on the summer schedule. Give the kids opportunity in digital art if you have an instructor that knows what they're doing with digital art. So we're constantly improving. We're constantly adding things, not to our core classes. That's what kids need to continue on. But summer workshops, huge opportunity to introduce kids to different areas of art that they wouldn't get during the curriculum in the school year. Nothing repeats. So you have kids they're able to come back year after year and nothing is repeated. We really focus on portfolio building with our students and how important it is to treat your artwork as money in the bank for future endeavors. So we start as early as 7 years old. Go get a portfolio. Good Christmas present. It's $10. Keep your artwork safe. Don't give it away to grandma. Make her a print. Keep your original. These kids are taught how important it is to value what they're doing and build that portfolio from as early as 7 years old. That's just part of our culture. This is Grace. She started as a 7-year-old. She's at SCAD. I met with her a few weeks ago for lunch. She's studying architecture. She had a lot of money towards her school because of the work she did in my studio. And yeah, it's pretty amazing that I've known her since she was 7. Art 1, ebony pencil. This is really, we spend a lot of time with our teachers in training because this is the first project that our Art 1 students do. And these kids are 9 and up. And our teachers need to embrace that this is reality. This is what kids can do. So embrace that expectation, and we help them teach and deliver the lesson plans that they need. There's 3 in the whole year of Art 1 that have to be delivered in such a way to our kids to make sure that they understand the foundational principles. So every lesson plan is spelled out week by week by week. There's no room for guessing. When the kids finish these pieces, we celebrate their success. We award ribbons. Not everybody gets a ribbon. We don't believe in that. Kids are smart. They know when you're blowing smoke. That's not our culture. But do we acknowledge every single kid? Yes, we do. And we clap and we celebrate that they finished. And every kid has success because they're taught and they're capable. So this is just showing the breakdown, week by week of what the kids are doing. And there's always goals in place for what they do in the studio. It's very much a school setting, classical music playing, the kids are on task, and they feel safe in that environment because they can work, they can learn, and it's not a free-for-all crazy mayhem. We have good classroom management going. And then they end up with pieces like this. And that first piece really drives it in with the parents. They're like, wow. And you ask the kids, did you ever think you could ever do something like this to this level? And every kid has success with this project. And it's the hardest part of the whole curriculum. So we set that expectation with our students, who learned how to ride a bike. It was hard, right? Then you finally learn, and then it all gets easier. So everything is expectation with the kids. Gouache is Art 3 project. These kids, by the time they get to the Art 3 level, they are doing college level work. They don't know that they are, but they're working with opaque watercolor. They understand how to use color because they're taught color theory. It's quite a bit different than, hey, come in for a few weeks and do a watercolor painting. No, they know what they're looking for. They know how to see. They've been taught, and they do incredible work. And we make them do something shiny because, as you can see, the gouache looks amazing when you do something shiny. Another student, this is Shiloh. She was with us I taught her for 10 years. She just finished her 3rd year of teaching for me at the studio, but she told us last month she's going back to school to become an art therapist. She's amazing. It's incredible to know that you can turn a student into an instructor or possible business owner one day. So we call it art for life. It goes full circle. Franchise model. The launch plan is very straightforward. We meet weekly once you have a lease signed. So before you get a lease signed, you're meeting with Gary, and he introduces you to the local broker in your area, and it's all focused on your physical location. We need that address. As soon as we have that address, we can start marketing. So when you're looking for your space, I set up a virtual business training that's going to help you with how we market to the schools. So this training is done over Teams. I've got one coming up the 21st of September. So you'll have your full color photo book that I make for you that shows projects from every level of the curriculum. People do not read. So having this as a resource when you're explaining your program to people is priceless. You will get so much use out of this book. So I mail that in advance to you. So you have your photo book. I teach you how to use the photo book. We go through, like I said, the marketing, how to access the schools in a way where they're excited to work with you as a small business. We do things like offer scholarships to the kids, the students, the teacher's choice, who they want to award that scholarship. The only thing we ask for is take our flyers. That's your goal in the beginning. Just how many people can find out about your business. So I teach you that early on. So we've tweaked a little bit of the training. I feel like that part is important to do right away. And I don't want you traveling across the country when we can do that over Zoom. But once you have your teacher hired on, then you and your teacher come to Florida. Because what you learn by being in the studio as an owner, I think is invaluable. I can't teach that in an empty, beautiful new studio. It's important for you to see the business when it's in operation. So you and your teacher travel to Jacksonville, then your studio might not even be open yet. I know it won't be open yet, I should say. Your studio will not be open yet, and you'll come to Jacksonville and you'll get to see classes in session, witness how we don't spend any time in between classes. So it's turn and burn. We have the teachers trained in a way where they have everything ready and to set out for the next group. You'll see all of that. And it's important to feel it, touch it, taste it, all of that. So teacher training is last. So teacher training happens within the 4 weeks. As soon as your contractor's done, you're going to be open for business in the next 4 weeks. We set a goal of 4 weeks. So in that 4 weeks, you're putting away supplies, and we travel to see you and train your teacher. And then we might be there for an open house if we can coordinate it. So in the marketing training, you're going to learn how to use schooldigger.com. It's the huge outreach to the schools in addition to other kid activities like kid websites and things like that. You're going to do it all in the beginning. It doesn't look like that after you're open, but in the beginning, it's just a numbers game. Class schedule, not really too relevant. This is about site selection. Sean, do you usually do this slide?
Yeah, happy to. And again, just sort of a time check. And because some of this, again, we like having the slides to sequence things and keep us on target, but we talked a little bit about it before. So really recap. Looking at typically 12 to 1,600 square feet. We have gone larger if it's the right price.
Yeah.
The reason that 1,600 is bolded is it enables us with just a little bit more square footage to run concurrent classes without having to move to a different studio. So what I mean by that is we can, as we had in Jacksonville, right? We first had a waiting list, right? And then we had to open up. The beauty that was Boat Friday was gone. We had to open up on Fridays. And then we had others as they're growing into Art 2, Art 3, and we're able to use the clay room because it's a little bit bigger to be able to run a fully enrolled class there as well as in the main studio. And so sort of lean towards that because, Stephanie shared in that growth, they grew out of a studio. So early on, you got a little bit of extra square footage, but that's real beneficial. When I say B type of real estate, it's not a real estate classification. We're not going and opening next to Gucci or Armani. We're looking at like everyday shopping centers, right? With good, ideally, as we talked about, good other tenants. You'll see on the next slide, and when we do pro forma review, we love seeing our mathnasiums, our Kumons, our ice cream parlors, other places where families are taking their kiddos. Demographics, we live off the demographics, right? Because ultimately, what does it come down to is how many kids are in a radius around the studio, and then it varies market to market. Also, median household income, disposable income, so that people can invest in their kids. I always go back to, and I love having a TS coach on because Blake will attest, people spend money on their kids and their pets. So even if like our median household income is pretty low in Jax, but they're spending money on their kiddos. And out in Ponte Vedra, we've got higher percentage of kids enrolled because they're rich and they got a lot of money out there. But really, we're in a good core blue collar working class community. It's wonderful to see them investing. And again, the national real estate team, Dennis mentioned Gary and his crew. They've been with us with WaveMax, with CAC, any brick and mortar that we do. We trust them inherently, and they do a great job. Most importantly, as Stephanie highlighted, boots on the ground, local person who's there, knows your market. It's not somebody, Gary lives in Portland, not somebody from Portland telling me what to look for in Salt Lake City. We've got boots on the ground representation, and they support you. Again, going to that, like looking for those guys. Mathnasium and Kumon, we put our trifold brochure in their lobby and vice versa, right? Because we're not competing with them. We're enriching and educating the children, the families, and you'll have a high school kid that's going to Mathnasium or Kumon, and their sibling digs art, or the same kid digs art. Cool, and we can collaborate and cross promote. But when we do the demos, like let's pick a starting point. As I mentioned, I love having Stephanie drive for me. This is a new thing, but flying through it, right? What are my demos? And when we look at, like, this was an example when we were looking at Mesa a while ago. All right, you got fewer kids, but higher median household income. I'm gonna get a little bit higher percentage of enrollment. We'll look at the same thing going down there, like Gilbert Chandler. Carrie, totally different story, but I'm up to my eyeballs in your maps right now for surface experts. oh my gosh, it's growing. And all of us Californians are screwing up your state, but that's okay. It's growing in a wonderful place. We are going to be opening in Scottsdale probably in the next few months. We're heavily into site selection. And that's something else I also want to highlight. Because of the community and the collaboration that we foster with our owners, that's not your competition. Sheila will collaborate with you, right? When we're running ads, you're going to say CAC here and in Chandler, or wherever we open up. So really foster that, and frankly, save a few shekels on some print collateral, etc.
Yeah.
You can go to the next one, but I'm like behind the scenes supporting that as we look at this. Stephanie and Barbara go really deep on what is that design, what's the layout. Like Midtown Manhattan, I'm so pumped that they're going for training because the old, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. It's got a wonky layout, restrooms are around the corner, etc., but it's glorious. And holy smokes, I had no idea how many kids are in like literally 4 square blocks in Midtown Manhattan. And like a lot of kids in those high rises. Oh, and Stephanie, what are we charging per kiddo in Manhattan?
Oh my gosh, it's like $349 a kid. It's 119 here in Florida, just so you know.
So I highlight that because we do regionally throttle it, and that's what their parents are paying for music lessons. They're paying it for Taekwondo. They're paying it for other extracurricular activities, and so we also help with that. And then for those of us that aren't great with the 2D rendering, we'll also do the dollhouse rendering so you can visualize it, do that tour. One key thing I really want to highlight on this is our tenant improvements are so easy. If you look at that and follow that purple wall up front, it's a non-load bearing wall. It's got a open window in it and a door so the parents can be out there in the waiting room and see their kiddos. We're very anti-helicopter parent. Don't come in here and do your art project for your kid. That next one, sort of pinkish, reddish wall.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That is all. You're fine. That also a non-load bearing wall. Short story is, as you look at that, the layout is it's a few non-load bearing walls and some you're fine, and some coats of paint, and we're gonna rack and stack the shelving. The only thing, and we really push in our LOIs and leases with the landlord, give me accessible restroom and 240 volt so that 220 so I can connect my kiln. And cool, we can go and do it. Put some elbow grease into it. You can have a GC come and do all the work, and they're going to charge you a bucket of money. We typically are using handymen to come and do our tenant improvements. The Ace Hardware, their service, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So
they have licensed little contractors who like small jobs, and that's what this is. So it's been working out pretty good.
Exactly.
Yeah. So training. Thank you, Sean.
I know they want to see marketing. I'm sure. I mean, we'll go deep, and I'll send you all a recording, but tons of onboarding, training, support, etc. I appreciate everybody sticking with us because I say usually 90 to 120 minutes. Hey, good. We had great questions, so we're going a little bit long. But you want to hit these fairly quick, and then we'll get into the marketing and the launch stuff.
Yeah, and we covered these guys already. The only thing that's different on this slide is that we do your marketing training virtually now to save you a trip to Jacksonville. You come to Jacksonville with your teacher once your teacher's hired to do that observation. We have the ops manual and support library for you guys as owners. Everything is at your fingertips. And you are meeting with me weekly. So we kind of go through what you need to be focusing on for that week. What are we getting done? We're doing that touch point every week once you have your lease. And then we've talked about the instructor training is at your site. There's ongoing teacher trainings for our teachers, the owners meetings we've talked about. And then I'm here for you even after you open. I want to be that support until you say, go away, I'm good. So I always am excited when an owner says, all right, I don't think we need our weekly meeting, or maybe we'll switch to 2 weeks, or I'm good, I don't need you anymore. But I don't go anywhere. So I'm here even after you open for support. The instructor training is really important. Again, this goes back to why we're successful. It's because of what the kids produce and because they're actually being taught. So making sure that the teacher is familiar with the lesson plans. I teach them at the teacher training how to access. We use SharePoint. I have a teacher training portal that I've developed that is additional resources to the written curriculum. What do these projects look like? There's an arsenal of pictures for every project that's in the curriculum. There is no excuse. I don't want them guessing. This is what it's supposed to be. If we have problems with execution, I'm not here to chastise you. I want to help you. I'm a teacher. So how can we make this better? What went sideways? How can we fix this to make it look better next time? It's results driven, guys. So ongoing support communication is key. I have one-on-one meetings with teachers all the time if they have a question about something. They don't need to guess. Again, you're dealing with a bunch of teachers. My mom's available too quite a bit in the morning, and she loves to do one-on-ones with our teachers. So we're here to help. And again, I talked to you about hiring. I'm totally involved with you. You make the ultimate decision, but you will get my feedback. Development of the curriculum. Every year that you're open, you're going to add that next level to your program. And so there's like I did recordings of our teacher trainings when we were brand new, and then we had our second year of owners. They would come to Jacksonville. We recorded the entire training. So every project for Art 2, every project for Art 3, we have all of that as recordings for our teachers to watch well in advance so they can digest the lessons. And we're here to help. I mean, we have a whole binder full of special event ideas and workshops, but if you ever are stuck on something to do, we've done it for a long time. Take advantage of that. There's very few moving parts and pieces in this business, which is why it's so beautiful. It's simple. Market introduction. Everything that we do is with the goal to open with 100 kids. The hardest lifting, the heaviest load that you'll ever have as an owner is in the beginning. When you get your address, it's go time. This is the moment that you have to juggle. Yeah, your build out's happening, but the focus is getting butts into seats, because we want to have such a beautiful student base when you open your doors. After you're open, it's a lot of referrals. You've got happy parents, happy kids, people talk to each other, but building that student base is what you do. I can't do it for you. How many kids do you want to have when you open? Do you want to have your bills paid when you open, or you don't? It's all about the marketing. So owners who decide not to do the steps that we know work might open with 40 or 50 kids and grow from there. But if you do this piece, I'm telling you, you can't fail. You will get 100 kids. You will get more than 100 kids. But it does involve with you actually physically going into your community and making connections with the teachers and the parents and the PTA and the people that we serve. They have to know that you're
And going back, when Blake asked about that semi-absentee, your teacher can do this too, right? So pre-opening, have that teacher who's going to be teaching the classes get out there and do that community engagement and go into the schools.
Yeah,
so
if
think
you've
about
got a
who's wearing that hat.
Yeah, if you have a full-time job, I mean, I highly recommend our people with day jobs to take time off, because it's your business, and I think that nobody's going to sell it better than you. But if you have to have help, absolutely. We have our teachers who are eager to work. They've been in the schools. This is not a scary place for them. They're comfortable. So that absolutely is an option to help you with this piece, because this marketing part in the beginning is critical for your growth in the very beginning. Obviously, we have a beautiful website that's in place for you, up and coming soon to the area. All of that's ready for you. We work with Scott Silvati, who's head of Lighthouse marketing firm. He's great. He's very communicative and helps you with setting up Facebook and Instagram and all of those digital marketing places. And those are important. And we do have a lot of success with those. Not so much TikTok. It's not really our crowd or our age group, but he helps with that. And we have a lot of people that are on the team that have a background in marketing. We use Canva, so there's a lot of collateral that's locked and loaded, ready for you to use, which is extremely helpful. But don't rely on digital. You have to do both in the beginning. Once you're open, it looks a lot different.
Hey, Stephanie, if I can just jump in. I'm very illiterate when it comes to technology.
Me too.
Is that a real problem? It's just, it scares me a little bit. And I know it shouldn't, but it does. I'm not very good at it. But is that, do you get help? Like, I know you said you get help, but do you got to learn a lot of this on the go?
So Blake, I've never relied on technology for my businesses. Okay. This is different now that it's a franchise. And I know that it's important for SEO and all these things that I had to learn about that I, never really took advantage of before. You do have help. And we do have marketing options for people like us that are illiterate with technology. Great marketing firm that just came on. We're actually doing a 90-day trial with his business to see if this is going to work for our owners. And I feel like it's going to be a really good option for people like us that just want to say, hey, you drive. Here's the stuff, you drive it. I don't want to do it. So that's definitely an option, and it's affordable. You have to have a certain amount of marketing dollars spent every month. So this is going to be well within our wheelhouse of how much to spend. And I think for people like you and I, it's going to take a lot of that worry of, oh, how do I do Facebook posts and what do I do with Google and all that stuff. It's extremely helpful. I'm with you. I'm old school. I like talking to people more than I like posting, but it's all important. So we have help for you. This is really what it looks like, guys. When you sign your lease, you're going to schools, we're working on marketing. That address, having that for Google My Business. Google My Business is amazing. I mean, people still Google a lot. And our name, again, is wonderful for that. So anybody looking for art classes, it's a very easy find. So we help you get that set up as well. Working the social media, I mean, I'm not good either, but I know that even posting progress of your studio under construction gets your community engaged and excited that the studio's coming to your area. So just even posting construction pictures of, oh, this is where our progress is now and coming soon, all of that helps with SEO and getting people engaged. And then planning those open houses the month before you open, getting that teacher training done the month before you open, and then you're open. And then you're going to keep growing. Your teacher's going to be going because you're going to keep getting students all year long. That first year is going to be exciting. The second year, you're going to get those kids back plus new ones. You'll probably see a 20% increase, which is pretty cool. So I know I'm going too fast, but I think we've reached, here's the slide. This is just little snippets of some of the things in Canva that we have for you guys. Everybody shares all of their marketing stuff. So it's become a huge arsenal of different marketing materials that owners have developed within our brand. We have a brand kit set up on Canva. So if you're a creative and you want to design your own marketing pieces, by all means, just use what's in the brand kit. We have the fonts and the logos and pictures. So many pictures, guys. You can use our student pictures until you have your local students and replace them with your local kiddos. There's a QR code generator on there, so you can slap that onto any flyer, business card, whatever you want to do. Trifold brochures, pop-up banners are great for events. This image is another way to get involved with your community schools. I did this when we opened our Ponte Vedra school. This was a community project that I did with this humongous elementary school. And it's a 14 by 14 foot mural that's now installed in their cafeteria. And each family came into my studio to work on their square. They didn't know what they were doing. It just was like, your square is green. Put green objects all over your square. Some of them had, a little bit of the blue and the white and the green. And then when it was all done, I did not install it. That was part of the deal, but it was installed, and now it has, work done with children's art classes, a little plaque next to it. And I've just stayed in partnership with this elementary school because there's so many kids and it's near my studio, and I didn't have to pay for my partnership because I did this huge project. So there's ways where you can be a partner in kind and offer a service to the school rather than say, hey, I want to give you, $800 for the gold membership. But guys, if you have to buy your way into a partnership with the school in the beginning, it's the best way to spend your marketing dollars, because you'll get your logo and your website on the, huge banner in the car line where every parent sees it. It's that kind of thinking that's really going to boost your business in the beginning. Do you have to do that after you're open? No, you don't have to continue partnerships. You won't need them, but in the beginning, do as many as you can afford to do.
Hey,
And this one was super
Stephanie.
special because you got kids to come out to the studio to work on it, and then to this day, several years later, that's in their multi-purpose room, and there's a work presented by children's art class, and the kids see it every day. The parents see it when they go to special events and dances and theater and stuff at that school, and you always have this like living memory of or reminder of CAC. So I thought this was a glorious example.
Hey, Stephanie, Sean, I've got to run. I've got a client on the other line. So, but thank you so much. You did a great job. I love it. So,
Thanks,
thanks
Blake.
for taking the time. All right.
Appreciate your involvement today. Great questions.
Okay.
Great to have you.
Bye.
Bye. We have so many of our owners do grand openings at their studio, so they'll become members of the chamber, even if it's just for 1 year in the beginning. But the Chamber of Commerce is great because they will organize a ribbon cutting at your studio and bring a bunch of other business owners and members of the community to your studio. It's great for publicity. They put it in the newspaper. And it's just cool because you have a ribbon cutting at your studio. Robert and his family and his teachers are in the picture on the top left with his kids at their first, I think that was at their Chamber of Commerce. Montessa below with her family at the ribbon cutting. Josemary, she taught for me for many years now. She's a franchise owner in South Carolina. That's her set up at a special event. I believe it was at one of the schools. So it's a lot of that community engagement that is going to bring awareness to your studio and bring you actual students. Social media is great for branding, but this kind of effort puts people into seats. We'll identify what's available in your market. In addition to what you're doing at the schools and the community, there's bound to be resources for parents that let them know about extracurricular activities or camps or birthday parties. There's websites there. And some of these websites will have actual publications that go into schools and businesses in your community. These are great places for you to advertise as well. So we're going to identify those, use them, and figure out what's going to work. Most newspapers are kind of going by the wayside, but there's still a lot of, like if you go into restaurants, they have those free racks of papers and stuff where you can advertise events basically for free. They're usually looking for content. So you can use that stuff. It doesn't cost anything and it just gets the word out in another way. Again, we're going to do it all. Okay. Oh my gosh, we made it. I'm sorry we're over by a few minutes, but you guys have been great. We've reached the end. You've had great questions along the way, but anything else that you have, happy to help you.
Stephanie, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sean. It's been really insightful.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'm happy from my side.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Yes.
I have one more question just on the marketing. Just being in the DMV area, and Nova traffic can get really wicked. How have you, and I guess it's something you work with like the team and you all as you go through, but how have you been able to concentrate on where's in location within regards to the location of the studio and to like where you're marketing to the schools? Because I would be worried about just parents not wanting to drive that far.
Sure. We will target like the schools closest in the 1 to 3 to 5 mile radius and focus on those schools first, Garrett, based on where your studio is going to be. So we'll hit like the elementary schools that are closest to your studio in the 1 mile, and then the 3 mile, and then the 5 mile, because like you said, chances are with traffic, people are only willing to drive so far. So we'll focus on primarily elementary schools in that early marketing. Not so much, maybe if you have time for middle schools, but mostly elementary schools, the big ones.
Gotcha.
For most kids.
Okay. Thank you.
Great question. All right, anybody else have any
Excellent.
questions? You guys have been great.
So I will send everybody a recording of this session so you can watch it at rewatch at your leisure. Also want to always invite you to participate in validation calls with our owners and individually coordinate key next steps. So thanks for sticking with us. I know we ran a little bit long, but it was really a wonderful session, and hopefully you learned more and are even more excited. We asked you early on, what excites you about CAC? Hopefully coming out of this, you're even more excited about children's art classes.
Awesome. Thank
Thanks,
you, guys.
everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye.